Key number 1, Mystery of the Biblical Calendar Revealed. Key number 1 has been researched and produced by 144,000teachers.org. For seminars, conferences, enrollment, please contact us at 144,000teachers@gmail.com, or for further studies, visit our website at www.144,000teachers.org. The sanctuary is the key that opens the mystery of the biblical calendar. Exodus chapter 25 verse 8, "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." Psalm chapter 77 verse 13, "Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God?" The sanctuary is indeed the most complete, connected, and harmonious system of truth of the whole Bible. In the sanctuary, the calendar is revealed. The sanctuary calendar and its luni-solar reckoning. The sanctuary calendar was based on the lunar cycle of the moon of 354 days, the solar cycle of the sun of 365 days, and the barley harvest season. The new year was based on the new moon horn crescent and ripened barley. In the sanctuary, the new year always started with the new moon horn crescent or new month in the spring, combined with the barley being ripened in April, Gregorian reckoning. Scaliger, a well-known chronologist of the 16th century, declared the method of Hebrew reckoning as the most ingenious and most elegant of all systems of chronology. Taken from the Grace Amadon collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, page 6. The first month of the Hebrew year, Abib, meaning barley is ripe, pointed to the season of barley. In Exodus chapter 9 verses 31 and 32, Moses gives a very important detail under the seventh plague. "And the flax and the barley were smitten, for the barley was in the year, and the flax was bold," which occur at the beginning of April, Gregorian reckoning, for a common year. "But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up until June, Gregorian reckoning." All scriptures are taken from the King James Version. The Hebrew calendar regulation. The month was regulated by the moon, the year by the sun and solar season. According to Sidursky, who wrote, "The aim of the Mosaic command was to regulate the months according to the course of the moon, and the whole year in accordance with the course of the sun, by assigning as a starting point the lunar month coinciding with the beginning of a determined solar season." Sidursky, Chronology of the Jews, page 615. That solar season was the barley, luni-solar barley harvest calendar. That determined solar season was still the barley harvest in the time of Christ. Taken from the Grace Amadon collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, page 7. The Passover Festival, the ceremony of the barley. The ceremony of the barley was the divine rule by which the position of the month Abib was located. If by the 1st of Abib the barley was not sufficiently advanced for the Passover festival, then a leap month was added, and the feast period of the year was delayed until the following month, which is called intercalation or embollismic year. This is taken from the Grace Amadon collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, page 8. The first fruits festival was based on the barley. Moses commanded that they should not even reap their barley until the first fruit of it had been offered to the Lord at the time of the Passover. According to Leviticus chapter 23 verse 11, the waved barley sheaf at first fruit was on the 16th of the first month. This is taken from the Grace Amadon Collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, page 7. The control of the year, the barley harvest rule. By this rule, barley harvest, we know that the Abib Paschal moon could not come until the rains were over and the barley ripe. In Palestine, March is the month of the latter rain, and that barley ripens in April, Gregorian reckoning. Scaliger says that in the time of Christ, the Paschal moon limits were April 8 and May 6, Gregorian reckoning. This was taken from the Grace Amadon Collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, pages 8 and 9. The sanctuary calendar and its appointed times or feast, as found in the book of Leviticus chapter 23 and the book of Numbers chapters 28 and 29. The first of these feasts is the Feast of Passover, celebrated on the 14th of the first month, the month of Abib. The second one, unleavened bread, celebrated from the 15th to the 21st of the first month. The third one, the Feast of First Fruits, celebrated on the 16th of the first month, followed with the fourth one, Pentecost, celebrated on the 9th of the third month. The fifth one, Trumpets, celebrated on the 1st of the seventh month. The sixth one, the Day of Atonement, celebrated on the 10th of the seventh month. And the seventh one, the Feast of Tabernacles, celebrated from the 15th to the 22nd of the seventh month. The Feast of the Sanctuary, based on the lunisolar barley harvest Mosaic law calendation, must meet these three conditions. The first one, the ending of the latter rain. The second one, the regular period of the ripened barley. And the third one, the fulling of the one moon possible in that limited time after the first week in April Gregorian reckoning, which exactly determined the Paschal feast and all the other festivals of the Hebrew year. The results were dependable and specific. This applies for the coming year, as we have seen earlier. If the barley was not ripened, one more month was added in order to celebrate the festival at the right time. This was taken from the Grace Amadon Collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, page 21. The change of the Hebrew calendation came after the destruction of Jerusalem. After the dispersion of the Jews, the Sanhedrin did not content itself to observe the maturity of the barley, but added to it the observation and calculation of the equinox. This was taken from the Grace Amadon Collection, Crucifixion Date, Part 5, pages 7 and 8. Christ observed the lunisolar barley harvest calendar of the sanctuary. Because Christ is the fulfillment of the sanctuary and all the appointed times according to the lunisolar barley harvest Mosaic law calendation. See key number 2 now, Christ in the sanctuary.